Hello everyone and welcome to another video where today I'm going to be talking about how I was able to climb the Crisp Climb castle while permanently crouching and without power-ups. Now for those of you who don't know, yesterday Ceave posted a video talking about how he was able to collect almost every shine in Bowser's Fury while always crouching. However, he wasn't able to get the ones on Crisp Climb Castle just because there's an impossible gap. Well, about 3 hours later I solved that problem. However, the level in its entirety was still purely theoretical. That's why I'm here today, to show the entire level being possible from start to finish, climbing from the bottom all the way to the top. Now, in this first section, I went ahead and tried the gap. I failed on this first attempt. Yeah, it turns out the impossible jump is kinda tricky. Don't worry, I got it on my second attempt though, at least on this series of attempts. Overall, this took about 4 hours of trial and error, but I eventually was able to make it up. Now for the first section, I have to use Bowser Jr. bounces, and these don't look that hard, and that's because they're not. They're pretty easy if I'm being completely honest. However, they aren't always consistent, as several times I would go ahead and bounce on Bowser Jr. early, or I would get a very small bounce when I was looking for something actually substantial. So it's definitely not the easiest thing. So here I go ahead and line up my jump, and I double bounce off of Bowser Jr. Again, that jump is pretty tricky, but it's not that bad. Don't worry, there's a much worse one coming up. Here I go ahead and 90-degree wall jump up. Originally I was going to jump off of those question mark blocks, but it was too inconsistent and I fell here several times. And yes, I did that impossible jump, quote unquote impossible, probably a few dozen times. Here I go, up the wall, and I think that's high enough. Here I can just go through the pair of bitty bubs because Bowser Jr. exists and he is wonderful. Except for when he misses his inputs, then he's not very wonderful. Here we have another wall to bounce up, and something I found is if I'm right up against the wall, I'll often miss Bowser Jr. or I'll get those weird miss inputs. So it's actually better to be slightly away from the wall in order to maximize my chance at actually climbing up. And now we're up here. So now we're going to follow the obvious Nintendo path, right? Wrong. That involves rotating slopes, and I prefer painful jumps. So I go ahead and send Bowser Jr. out here, I line myself up, and then I do this. Now, as soon as I land on this rotating slope, I go ahead and mash jump as much as I possibly can. Mostly because I'm on a slope, and I gotta be jumping. And you might look at this, and you might go, wait, you're not crouching. I am. Except if you go ahead and jump the moment you land, you'll actually look like you're standing up. But don't worry, I'm still holding the ZL button, and I ended up making it down here. Now this is actually a decent place to be in, but it's definitely not a safe place, because you see those handles that I was trying to ride on? Yeah, they're safe until they're not. Once they become a cradle sort of, where you're sliding between the inside of it, then it's kind of dangerous because you can easily slide right off, and that happened to me quite a few times. But after making my way around, we're finally up. So yes, it's possible to climb up the entirety of Crisp Climb Castle in one go. It's just really painful. So with that, I would like to say thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!